Hello everybody and welcome to the 9th race of Division 3 Online Formula Racing Season 1. Today, in the 9th race out of 10, we are going to be racing in Austria, and we have almost a full grid. We've just got 18 players here with us today. Might have another one joining a little bit later on in qualifying because there was 19 when we started the lobby. But yeah, it's going to be a hell of a race today. The championship for D3 is actually still alive, and whilst these drivers are doing their warm-up laps, I'll quickly just go over them. So we've got AJ, the D1 champion of the world this season, in first place with 214 points. In second place, we've got Izat with 171, and Maximus in third place with 163. Now, from 4th to 10th, we've got Lika, Santi, Mats, Carter, Jan, Vilsek and Pitch Black, and their points range from 155 all the way down to 53. So you can see there's quite a lot to play for today. Moving a bit further down the field, from 11th all the way down to 24th, and I'll leave it there. We've got Young Stinson, Tommy, Markov, myself, Dr. Robot, Atomic, Rubs, Jens, Droftas, Bierush, Simon, Tom, Castle, Lex and Super Bounty. Now, we are in Austria today. It is a very short track. It's one of these tracks that's actually... The actual track itself is quite easy, you know, getting around the track itself is quite easy, but as soon as you start to push on nearly all of these corners, it is so easy to make a mistake. It's so easy to touch the grass where you don't want to. A lot of these corners are so off camber that the rear just wants to step out at every opportunity you get. And if it's not the rear stepping out, it's the huge elevation changes going into this corner, for example, turn 9, where the rear also wants to step out and then the front is lost at the same time. It's really hard to get this track right. So we're going to be riding on board with Tom right now, who is starting his out lap. So his hot laps, beg your pardon. Here we go. So he's coming up to turn 1. The place you want to brake here is just after the 100 meters. Drop it down to 4th, drop it down again into 3rd, doing all the shift back into 4th, and away you go. DRS wide open. He does have a little bit of traffic in front of him. Hopefully they will get out the way because he is on a hot lap if they're not on hot laps themselves. Now, coming up to turn 3 here, you want to brake just after the 100. Easy on the gear shifts down. You want to slow it down a bit and make sure you hit first as soon as you hit the apex. Early upshift into second, and then back up to the DRS point and speed all the way down here into this huge downhill, almost hairpin right-hander, which is turn 4. He has got a car in front of him, and I don't think he's on a hot lap. Laker is moving out the way there. You want to keep it to the right-hand side of the track here. Brake just as the barrier turns red. Turn in. He's dropped it all the way down to 3rd there, and you can see already his differential between on and off throttle is a little bit too heavy. So you can see as soon as he got off the throttle and tried to turn, the back wheels locked up slightly. He had a big amount of understeer, but he still kept his lap. He's still got his ERS set to hot lap. One of the other things you need to be careful of this lap is to make sure you do not run out of ERS, because you can finish the full deployment before you even get to turn 9 here, so you need to be careful. But Tom is about to be the first to cross the line, and he sets a 1:06.6. Pretty good lap for a D2 driver there. Very good indeed. That is a very competitive lap. So next up to cross the line, let's see who we've got. We're quickly just going to switch the track map. We've got Steving setting a 1:05.9 and Pitch Black setting a 1:06.6. Now we've also got Simon, who's our other D2 driver, who may be going up to D1 next season, who's also set a 1:06, but I think we're going to see a lot more from these drivers so far. We've got a few Mercedes crossing the line. That's Tommy going in first place with a 1:05.1, and we've also got, oh, that's AJ, sorry, who's already broken the 1:05 barrier with a 1:04.713. Izat follows, but he's about 600th down the road, but it's finally been done. It's already been done. The 1:05 has been broken, and we are down to the 1:04, so I suppose the real question is, are we going to see a 1:03 today? So it looks like, is that Simon? It's not Simon, it must be Super Bounty, who's just starting his hot lap. Yes, it is him. I'm going to jump to him and see how he's getting on here. So it wasn't him actually, he's still on his hot lap right now, so it must have been a Force India maybe. Might be the new guy Mason, but anyway, we'll stick with Super Bounty now because he is starting his lap. He's gone very wide there. He hasn't invalidated the lap, so he will still be able to push. So let's see how he gets on here. Again, you want to brake just after the 100 meters here, drop it down to 4th, late downshift into 3rd, and bring it up. He's gone a little bit wide there, but he has managed to keep it on track right now. Nope, he's gone off as we see one of the Williams, Vilsek, getting so much air there and losing a tyre. I'm glad we caught that on camera, but I think he had a bit of a battle out with one other car. I'm not sure who it was exactly. It might have been a Red Bull, but we see Super Bounty going off there, and I think he's going to prep his car for another lap there because he was affected. But Vilsek is already out of qualifying. Now we've got a Ferrari just about to cross the line as well. Sorry for the jumping. but it is Stinson, one of our fastest drivers here, and he is starting his hot lap now. You can see his DRS is set to high. He hasn't discharged any of this lap yet, and he's going now. So he's got his DRS wide open here as he approaches his really slight left-hander at turn 2. Let's see where he brakes for turn 3. Ooh, about 75 or 80 meters there. That was very late, but he does manage to get it turned in on time, and he has gone purple in the first sector here. So let's see his approach into turn 4 here. Normally you want to brake just after the 100 meter board here, but he's braking just under the green sign there. That's about 80 meters, so he has done very well to brake late there. He did get a bit of a lockup, as you can see. And as soon as he comes round turn 5 here, we'll see his sector time too. So he has gone purple in the second sector too. He's already 1/10 up on his time alone. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1, but it has been cleared already. Let's see how Stinson turns into turn 9. Nice line through there. Made sure the car didn't jolt too much. He's probably got a pretty low ride height here. And he crosses the line with a 105.3. So he did set a purple middle sector, but I think he got a bit too scruffy with the lockups here today. So I don't think anyone's going to be able to break the 104 today, but if they do, wow, they definitely deserve the OFR end of season prize. Now, whilst these guys are just warming up and coming in on their into the pits, beg your pardon, I'm just going to quickly mention that in around 2 weeks' time, OFR, Online Formula Racing, is going to be launching its first ever GT Sport League. Now, we've already got 24 drivers signed up. You can only have 15 drivers plus one commentator in a race, so we've got a really good format for it too. And I'm briefly just going to explain it without going into too much detail, but if you do want to race in the GT Sport League, really competitive drivers, really clean drivers, probably race on Sundays at around 4 PM UTC, then do join our Discord server. There will be a link in the description. But how it's going to work, we currently have 6 teams of 4 drivers. Now, each week, the team captains from each team are going to be choosing 2 drivers to race in the first 50% race, which is roughly the size of the 50% race in F1. And then the next 2 drivers are going to race in the second race. There's not going to be any qualifying. Everything is going to be done via reverse grid too, based on the current team championship points. So there's going to be so much strategy and team management going on in this new league, because drivers are going to have to choose throughout their team, are they going to put their fastest drivers into the first race and slowest in the second, or slowest in the first and fastest in the second? Are they going to split their fastest drivers to try and maximize on the average points? Who knows? But it is going to be absolutely amazing. I will be commentating there. We're going to have so many of these D1 drivers and D2 drivers also on the same team going to be playing together. So yeah, make sure you do join our Discord server if you are interested in joining a Gran Turismo Sport PlayStation 4 League. Now, we've got Santi, who is currently on an outlap, currently set at 105. He's warming up his car, but I don't think he's doing any real preparation. I think he's just whacked his ERS down and he's just going for it. That is one way to set your tyres up to be the optimum temperature. It doesn't do much for their wear level though. You will get a tiny bit more wear, but we're riding on board with Santi now. Let's see how he does as he comes through turn 10. Goes a little bit wide there, but doesn't invalidate, and he is starting his hot lap now. So, let's see where he breaks into turn 1 again. Ooh, that was a lot later than some of these guys. He manages to keep it in 4th gear all the way through the corner as well. That was amazing, and he's got a car in front of him who's just moved out of the way a little bit too late there, and he did have to swerve quite aggressively, but he's still on his hot lap now. He hasn't set a particularly strong first sector, but he is 2/10 up on his current time, so we're looking at a 105.1 currently. He's got his DRS open already. His ERS is still set to overtake, so he is still on a hot lap. He's turned it down now as he's coming into the corner, so we can maximize the usage of it later on in the lap on these small straights. But he is doing okay so far. I haven't spotted any lockups or anything. Let's see his entry into this left-hander. Another off-camber turn here. He's looking okay. He's looking nice and tidy through there. It looks like we've got a car coming off a bit earlier. Oh, there is one. I think it's his teammate. His teammate is off there. That's Tom in the gravel in between turns 5 and 6. But here comes Santi into the final 2 right-handers now. Huge elevation change going downhill. Manages to keep it on track. Goes a little bit wide there. Doesn't invalidate yet. Then he turns into the final corner. Almost goes too wide, but manages to keep it on. Let's have a look at his time. He was on a 105.3. He's now on a 104.8. So he's another driver to break the 105 barrier, setting a really competitive time there. And he is just a 10th down on AJ, his teammate in Division 1's time here. So we've got Lex in the stream now. Hey Lex, how you doing? I have not seen any drivers faster than 104. I've only heard rumours about this, and I may have seen a few in time trial times on the leaderboard, but I'm not entirely sure. But I don't think any of these drivers are going to be able to do it today. We do have AJ out right now on a hot lap. We'll jump back to him a bit later on because we've got one of the Williams about to finish a lap, or start a lap. I think it's Leica. We'll stick with AJ because he is the one to beat. Let's just have a look at his first sector time here and see if he has improved. Oh, he is already 300ths up on his time. Now, we're going to quickly just jot down to Leica because Leica's current time is a 105.8. Sorry for the jumping there. Leica's time is a 105.8, and this is the first race, I believe, that Leica is going absolutely 0 assists. So, in D3, they use the same assists as D2. They're allowed automatic gears, they're allowed medium traction control, and racing line through corners. In D1, the only assists they're allowed are racing line through corners, but today, Leica is going absolutely 0 assists, so I don't even think he has a racing line. And the reason for this as well is that D1 next season is going 0 assists. Now, this was only a rumour, but being on an inside panel, I've managed to get some inside information there, and rumour has it, or it's pretty confirmed now, there isn't going to be a racing line for Division 1. So I think Leica is using the last 2 races of the season to practice no racing line, but he has come into the pits and we'll probably see him go again. Now, AJ didn't... Oh, I think AJ might have improved on his time, but Stinson has now gone even faster. He is set at 104.3. Now, I'm going to jump up to Pitch Black for now, who's just gone through turn 6 there, and Pitch Black is one of these drivers who's been in D3 this whole season. He wanted a shot at D2, but looking at his pace for the past 4 or 5 D3 races, he's lapping. He's invalidated his lap, but he's starting now. He's lapping a considerable speed, and it is definitely in the top 5 D2 and in the bottom 5 D1. So we haven't made a decision of which division he's going to be placed in yet, but it looks like he may actually be a D1 driver. But if D1 is full, because we do have a lot of drivers moving up from D2 to D1, we would be able to slot him in to D2. But anyway, he is having to drive very careful for the last 2 races of the season because he is currently almost at the limit of penalty points for the season because of some incidents that he got involved with in the first couple of races here. But he has been keeping it clean these last 4 or 5 races, and somehow he's been penalty-less for the last 4 or 5 races too. So he is doing a hell of a job here, and let's see if he can do anything special with his lap time here. He's already 4/10 up on his lap time, gets the purple sector 2, middle sector there. Well done. He's already on a 1:5.70 if he was 4/10 up. If he can keep this up, he may even be below the 105. If he can do that, I think it's definite that he's going to be in D1. But let's wait and see. Takes a nice entry and exit into turn 10 there, and he crosses the line with a 105.2, so he hasn't broke the 104 barrier yet, the 105 barrier, but he is close, and he will be able to come into the pits now and go again. We've got Matt's on an outlap now, and we've also got Mason on an outlap, one of our new drivers. I think he joined us just in the past 2 days. So I'll jump down to Mason, who's locking up his tyres here, and we'll just see. He's just getting out the way for these drivers who are on their hot laps, but he's now going to get back up to speed. He is still on a hot lap, an outlap as well, I beg your pardon. So I'm going to ride on board with him to see what kind of pace he can do. But if he's already doing a 105.8, that's already confirmed high D2 area. If he can break 105.5, I reckon that's a D1 time too. But let's wait and see. We're going to ride on board with him now and see how he gets on. Locks up slightly. This might be his first time without ABS. We'll have to confirm with him after, but let's see how he gets on. So, he's crossed the line now. He's positioned his car to the left-hand side of the track. Where does he break into turn 1? About 90 metres, I would say there. Gets a bit early into there, and he doesn't manage to accelerate quick enough because his car was pushed slightly to the outside as he took a bit too much curb there. But he is already back up to speed. Let's see his sector 1 time as he crosses the line. He's already 1/10 up, so he's on for a 105.7 right now. Another lock-up as he goes into turn 3 there. I think this must be his first time without ABS, but he's still competitive. So I wonder after a few races whether he could break the 105 barrier there. Brakes just as he goes under the green sign. Similar braking point to AJ and Santi there. Automatically moves his car to the right-hand side to reduce track distance here. I'm not sure if that is the racing line, and he might suffer a bit from traction, but he seems to be okay so far as he crosses the sector 2 line. He is another 10th up already in sector 2. So he is on for a pretty decent lap here. We've got one driver going pretty wide there. YB and Steven moving out of the way respectfully. Thanks for that. And let's see his braking point into turn 9, just after the 50, turns it in, make sure the car doesn't slide too much, goes slightly wide, doesn't invalidate as he lifted as he was turning into turn 10 there, which is good. DRS wide open, ERS fully deployed, and he crosses the line with a... Where has he gone? I cannot see. Oh, he's only done a 105.8. So I'm not sure if he actually improved there. He must have done, because he was up in his first and second sector times. But well done. That is a very good time. And I think that's going to slot you in somewhere around D2. Now, there's only 3 minutes left of the session. We'll probably see people coming out around 2 minutes or 2-minute 30 slot. It is a pretty short track, so you can have a lot of traffic here, but it is quite wide in some places as well, so it is quite easy to move out the way. But he currently has, I think that's YB and Stephen following him really closely there. Yes, it is, who is on a hot lap as well, so we're right on board with him for the rest of it. As you see his front left lock up into turn 4 there. It's really, really easy to get your front wheels locked up when you're going into these downhill braking zones. One thing drivers can do is move their brake bias to the rear of the car. That is one of the 4 things you can change on the car whilst you are racing, but that is really a skill of these D1 drivers. It is really hard to be constantly changing your ERS, constantly changing your differential, and constantly changing your brake bias whilst you're racing, particularly on this track, because it's just corner after corner. You don't get much time to think about these things. That is usually something you see with our elite drivers in D1, but you never know, some of these D2 drivers could be doing it too. But he sets a 105.5, another competitive time for D2 there. It's great to see that some of these drivers are improving so much race on race. Now, we've got a few guys going into the pits, probably desperately trying to get to the pit box to put some soft tyres on. We have a lot of drivers on their outlap. I'm going to ride on board with Atomic because we haven't seen him yet, but he is outlap and he will be starting soon. Now, it looks like AJ might be starting soon. I apologise that I'm getting some of these names wrong. Basically, I've got turned down a fair bit, and Party Blue is going to be a different colour. So whenever I see yellow and green flags and things like that, they look always look in the top left to see what's going on. But Atomic is now coming on board with him and see how he gets on. So he's just come through nice and tidy, full throttle as quick as possible. He's starting his lap now. DR very late there, turns it down into 4th, keeps it in 4th as well. A lot of these D1 drivers are keep, so he's now going to start this really twist. Goes through turn 2 now, and he's now approaching turn 3. Where does he brake? He brakes a little first and does a really early upshift as soon as he hits the apex into second. Got a big snap of oversteer there, but managed to correct it as he was coming out of turn 3 there. DRS wide open, and let's see if he brakes at the green sign. A little bit before the green sign, actually, so he's not braking at the same points currently as the D1 drivers, but he is using the same gears as them currently. Now, we've got a car off right up ahead. Let's see who that is. He needs to get off the racing line. It's Super Bounty in the McLaren there. That's who I saw starting their hot lap. And Atomic is nice and tidy through 5 and 6, actually, and through 6 and 7, I beg your pardon, and turn 8. Gets a very nice line, only a slight lift and back up to full throttle. Cuts the corner, but keeps one tyre on the track. He was on a 105.4, and he's given up before he gets to the line, or did he not improve? I think he might have improved or not. He's gone straight on, and I think he's going to come straight back to the pits because he's run out of time. So we're going to flick through these drivers now who are coming in. YBN Stevens is coming in. Jan is done, I believe. He's not going to be continuing. We've got Tom, who's just gone through turn 4 there, who is still on a hot lap, so we'll stick with him. And let's see where Super Bounty is. Super Bounty is going to have to come into the pits as well because he didn't manage to make it through. So he made a mistake through turn 6 and 7 there, unfortunately. But Tom is fighting the car here. You can see he's really being aggressive with that wheel as he's coming out of turn 7 there and going through turn 8. Goes a little bit wide, but again manages to keep it on. Locks up the front right slightly. That's going to affect his exit out of turn 10. Can he improve? He was on a 105.9, and he's gone to 105.6, so he has improved. Congratulations. Atomic is not on a hot lap. He's got his ERS turned all the way down. We've got Tommy up ahead, who is currently fighting. He's got very low fuel, very low ERS, and he's coming into the pits as well, so I think he's done. Ezat is done as well, and Stinson is about to cross the line, and he improves. He was on a 104.3, and he sets a 104.2. Absolutely fantastic time from Stinson there. He didn't break the 104, but he did get a very low 104, so that is a very good time. So this race is going to be amazing. Remember, we've got one 25% race coming up, and then we've got one after that. Sorry, we've got one after that in reverse grid order, depending on how they finished in the first race. So do stay tuned. I'll be right back.